Welcome to ZaranTech on setting up statutory holiday eligibility, worker eligibility rules, troubleshooting eligibility issues, and creating worker eligibility rules in Workday Time Tracking. Disclaimer.
We will be covering: set up statutory holiday eligibility. What are worker eligibility rules? When are eligibility rules applied? Troubleshooting time tracking eligibility issues. Create worker eligibility rules for time tracking. A statutory holiday configuration determines if workers get paid for a statutory holiday based on requirements for each Canadian province or territory. Workday populates certain values, but you can modify them to provide greater benefits. After setting up configurations, you create a holiday time block calculation that determines time blocks for the holiday. Time tracking then passes the time blocks to payroll to calculate pay rates. Here are the steps to set up statutory holiday eligibility. First, access the Create Statutory Holiday Configuration task and create a configuration for each province. As you complete the look-back calculation section, consider the look-back period, which is the time before the holiday that Workday evaluates work time. Workday populates this based on the province. Also consider the look-back reference point, which is based on requirements either the preceding week or the holiday itself. In the look-back calculation section, select the hours to include in earnings eligible for statutory holiday pay. To include paid time off, add the time off plan's calculation tag. Create a statutory holiday calculation tag to use in holiday time block calculations and on the earning in payroll. As you complete the eligibility sections, consider the days employed, which is the number of days a worker must be employed before the holiday to be eligible. Also consider worked days, the number of days with reported work hours required for eligibility. Workday checks for time blocks or time off tagged as worked hours. This must be less than the period days/months value. Also in the eligibility sections, the period days/months is the window for meeting the work days requirement. For days it must be 30 or less. For months it must be 12 or less. You can also require working the scheduled day before, after, and on the holiday for eligibility. Now let's look at worker eligibility rules.
These rules control a worker's ability to enter time by listing conditions to be eligible for time tracking components. For example, a rule could specify hourly workers in a certain company. Assign eligibility rules to time code groups, templates, schedules, and calculation groups. The timing of when a worker must meet eligibility depends on the component. For templates, calculations, and schedules, it's the last day displayed or their termination date. For time codes, it's the date of entry. If a midweek change causes loss of eligibility for all calculations, it's the first day of the week. To troubleshoot eligibility, you can use the View Workers' Time Eligibility Report. This shows a worker's specific eligibility. You can also use audits like the Time Tracking Eligibility Change Audit and Time Tracking Eligibility Audit to identify setup issues or validate changes. Now let's look at creating worker eligibility rules. In the Create Time Tracking Eligibility Rules task, enter a description for the rule name. Select a report field or calculated field for the condition. The field type determines options. Position fields can only determine time code group eligibility. Select a relational operator and specify comparing to a field or value. Enter or select the comparison value. Use the plus to add rows for additional statements. Use the order arrows to control processing order. Use and slash or at the start of statements to control logic flow. Use parentheses with 3 statements and a mix of and slash or. Subscribe to our channel for more informative videos.